So to help us get ready for this Thursday, with 6 games as of now scheduled for some day baseball, that's Craig Mish, the host of Newswire, starting at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, our MLB insider here on the SportsGrid Network, the daily basis. Craig, on this Thursday, glad to have you here.
Yeah, great start yesterday, as we talked about. Cole Reagan shut down the Tigers. I think the Tigers got to do something evasive here with this offense. It is in the American League. Pretty dreadful at this point to watch, but that was a great game to watch. Unfortunately, Skubal didn't come through for Detroit, but naturally we were on the right side yesterday of that.
Oh, always on the right side here on the early line. 6 straight wins, Craig, for KC. The Royals already at 32. It took them until the end of July to get to 30 wins. Craig Mish, in his crystal ball, knows how to predict those win totals. Craig, a ceremonious day on this Thursday in Major League Baseball. For the 3rd time in Major League Baseball history, it's Paul Skenes Day. Skenes on the bump at home in Pittsburgh as the Pirates get ready to host the San Francisco Giants. 3rd start of Skenes' MLB career. The first against a team not named the Chicago Cubs. Right. In Pittsburgh, the favored side with Paul Skenes on the bump against San Francisco today. What do you expect in outing number 3 of Paul Skenes' MLB career?
Yeah, the last one was incredible. Watching what he did, carving up that team in the last one, certainly, I guess the thing is for me is that Skenes, I would think, would be treated a little bit differently than some of these other pitchers getting to the big leagues, only because he played at LSU, and threw so many pitches. I'm sort of surprised the way that he's being handled a little bit. Maybe the Pirates feel like they have a run coming in them and they would make the postseason potentially. And if that's the case, you want to have him hang around along with Jared Jones for a great 1-2 punch down the stretch. But it is sort of maddening to me to look at his props, his K props, and even to win some of these games knowing, Ben, that he's coming out after the 6th inning. It's just, that's it. And again, think about how well he pitched to get through 6 innings, and they let him do it. He may only be a 5-inning guy. I can't back the Pirates today. I just can't do it. I don't think he's going to go deep enough into the game.
Yeah, I was live on the air during that game against the Cubs, and he was filthy. Every time you looked up and you saw another out, you didn't even think about it was a ground. I was like, he probably struck the guy out, and he did. 6 innings pitched, 11 Ks. He was phenomenal. Let's see what he does do today. The one thing that we do know, a guy that's been phenomenal at the top of the Cy Young Award-winning market here at the FanDuel Sportsbook, that's Zack Wheeler and the Philadelphia Phillies taking on Andrew Heaney, the left-handed pitcher for the Rangers. Heavy favorite here, but we see some overnight movement. A -210 for the Phillies, now down to a -190 and a total of 8.5. The Phillies have been sensational this year. Do they pull off the sweep against the Rangers in Philadelphia today, Craig?
Yeah, I got a quick look at the Phillies lineup. I think they announced a couple of guys are sitting today. I think maybe, Donnie, that's why the line moved a little bit. But look, naturally, the Phillies are playing better baseball than anyone else. I still find it a little fascinating that Imanaga is not the favorite to win the Cy Young. And I guess I would ask myself the question that if Imanaga was in his 2nd year of Major League Baseball, would he be the favorite right now? Is it just simply because he's going to wrap up the Rookie of the Year award and they're not going to give him the Cy Young award too? Is that the reason why? Because otherwise, I can't figure it out. That being said, Wheeler's had one bad start all season. Donnie, I saw it. It was against Miami. Yep. I don't know what happened in that game. I still can't figure it out. I would lean under the 8.5 runs. Certainly Texas's pitching leaves a little bit to be desired, but I would think that Wheeler comes through. And generally speaking, the one thing that you could say about the Phillies this year, and Donnie, you know this from watching, is every single one of their starters is going 7-8 innings. That's going to help them so much with this bullpen down the stretch. You have no idea.
Yeah, by the way, real quick, Ben. Let me slide on this real quick with you, Craig. I agree with you. And you saw an interesting one down in Florida when you had Wheeler have that start. It's like, boy, that's odd. Stubbs actually was the starting catcher that day because Real Muto got banged up a little bit the night before. Right. He got back on his bases last week. And also, usually on a day-to-day where you play a night game, which they did in Philadelphia in a day game, you give the starting catcher the day off. But Real Muto is actually in the lineup today, so that might be a little bit of an extra boost for Wheeler there. But you did see one of those games where he didn't have his normal catcher, and he looked really bad that game.
Yeah, there was by the way, there was one pitch in particular. He had and again, I watched the Marlins, sorry to say, I watched every game. So there was a 3-2 count, and Wheeler thought he got a strike. It was a ball. The next batter, actually it was a 3. I don't know what it was, but either way, the umpire missed a strike, and the very next pitch was a home run. And I think that really was what cost Wheeler on in that game. I'm not going to make excuses for him because I don't with the umpires, but I think that was part of it too. But that's a good point, Donnie. I don't know the catching dynamic there, how it works, who Wheeler generally is with.
That was a sound follow-up, DRS. Way to get in there about your Philadelphia Phillies. Craig, the question we've been asking about the Phils, 36-14, the best 50-game start in MLB in over 2 decades. How legitimate is Philadelphia as a pennant contender in the National League? All year long, it's been the Dodgers and the Braves slightly behind the Phils and then everybody else in the National League. Craig, would you place Philadelphia on the same tier with the Dodgers and the Braves?
With the Braves, yes. With the Dodgers, I'm not sure. I kind of feel like Ohtani is putting the Dodgers over the top this year. If I had to predict how far the Phillies go, I know Donnie's not going to want to hear this. I think it's very similar to last year. I think that they get to the NLCS, and then I'm just not sure what would happen. But look, if I am the Phillies this year, and I am Dave Dombrowski, who has a lot of history going to the World Series with Detroit and with Boston and with the old Marlins, the Florida Marlins, this is the year, Donnie. They got to do it. They have to get whatever they can, whether it's Mike Trout or whether it's Bo Bichette or Vladimir Guerrero. They have to go all in this year. The window is now for them. They got to push it all the way down if I'm them.
Now, Craig, is there any chance that we can get you to head to Twitter right now and just say, we're hearing rumors that the Phillies could be lining up something big? Let's go.
Craig, you just gave him an inch. He's going to take a mile. You just opened the door and right side's kicking it down. You gave him his sources that Mike Trout's coming home.
I saw Donnie's chair. It was weird. I saw Donnie's chair just, sort of rise a little bit like he was,
perked up a little bit, did DRS. As soon as you said Mike Trout, Craig, we knew that was going to be good. Clip that. Make sure it's shared, Craig Mish. Yep. More early line next.
Yep, there it is.
Quickly here, DRS, let's transition back to Major League Baseball to go through our 8-game Thursday slate. We've got a couple more to preview, including the rubber match in Wrigley between the Cubs and the Braves. Chicago won game number 1. Atlanta, of course, with a 9-run performance yesterday, winning 9-2. The Braves have been favored in each of the first 2 games inside Wrigley. Same story today, minus 118 on the money line for Atlanta.
I think we might get runs in this game again, because if we're taking a look at the 78 degrees, which is nice in Chicago, wind's not really going to help you all that much, blowing more from right foul pole over to left foul pole. But if we take a look at the pitchers, and here's always some times where I like to break down a game and say, I don't have enough information. Darius Vines only faced 41 batters here in Major League Baseball this season, none of the past 30 days. He's got some pretty brutal numbers, man. 184 ISO power number and a weighted on base percentage of 358. So let's go back to see what he was actually doing in AAA. His last start, Ben, in AAA, which came against St. Louis's affiliate, 4 2/3 innings pitched, over 25 batters faced, 8 hits, 6 earned runs, 2 home runs, and 3 walks giving up with only 4 strikeouts. So if there's a chance for the Chicago Cubs to bounce back today, it's going to come from the first 4 guys in that lineup. It's Tauchman, Suzuki, Bellinger, and Morel. Those guys all elevated ISO and weighted on base percentages against a pitcher that might not technically be a major league pitcher today. So maybe I'll lean on that aspect here. I think the Braves might go down today, but more than that, I like the total in this game to go to the over.
I like a couple of the underdogs in the early slate. I kind of like the Giants plus 150 in Pittsburgh, despite Paul Skenes being on the bump, and the Cubbies at even money makes some sense. Chicago, of course, in the National League Central. The team in the bottom of that division, the Cincinnati Reds. Disappointing start to the year in Cincy, 20-29. A near pick'em today at home in the Great American Ballpark against the Padres.
Yeah, I mean, not a great look overall, and that's why you're seeing that basically it is a coin flip. The 9.5 is interesting here because Waldron's not a good pitcher, but having said that, he's really bad betting against left-handed batters. You don't have that good of left-handed batters in the lineup today for the Cincinnati Reds. Frankie Montas hasn't been that great against left-handed batters. You do have one really good left-handed batter in that lineup, and that's Jake Cronenworth, 73 at-bats over the past 30 days against righties at 328 ISO. Maybe that's your RBI look today for the Padres and the Reds.
With a win for San Diego, they would be a game above 500, the only other team in the NL West outside of the Dodgers to have a winning record.